Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. I'm in the bathroom right now and I'm kind of wondering how y'all got in here, but while I got you, welcome. On this week's episode, we have some to talk about.
Hey, wait, this is also for kids. I don't think you can say that on YouTube.
You're right. You know what? On this week's episode, we're going to talk about number 1 and number 2. So stick around, you're definitely going to learn a lot. We thought it might be a good idea to get out of the bathroom, or what boaters would call the head, and get a little fresh air and finish the recording up here on the top deck. When you're on a houseboat and nature calls, the head or the restroom is where you're likely going to go and take care of your business. But the systems on our houseboat are a little bit different than the ones that you would find on a house. Even things like the sinks and showers on some houseboats might go to a separate tank as well. So let's go in and let's start talking about that. There could be 2 types of holding tanks on a houseboat. The first one would be called a gray water tank. And this is where water from your sinks, your shower, your dishwasher, maybe even your washing machine would go into a gray water tank. We don't have one on board here, and the water from our showers and sinks and the dishwasher just goes overboard. But for boats like a cruiser that might be entering different regulations, whether they're international or they might be entering environmentally sensitive areas, those types of boats will have an option for a gray water tank on board. But it's not something that we have here on our lake. The second type of tank that every vessel that has a toilet on board is going to be required to have by law is a waste tank or a holding tank, and sometimes even referred to as a black water tank. And when you go to the bathroom to do number 1 or number 2, that's where this goes. I know you're probably thinking that this can get pretty smelly, so stick around to the end and we have some good tips on how to make sure that your boat doesn't end up smelling like a bathroom or a sewer. The toilets on board our houseboat might look similar to the ones that you have at your home, but that's about where the similarities stop. We have a Raritan head, and the 2 big manufacturers are Raritan and vacuflush. The way that these toilets operate is they draw up fresh water or water from whatever body that they're in. They use that to fill the bowl. A pump pulls that water out, and that's called a macerator pump. And to quite put it simply, it grinds up everything that's in the toilet into a liquid form, and it moves that to the waste tank. There's a couple other types of toilet systems. One of them that we're starting to hear a lot about is a composting toilet. I've never seen one, I've never used one, and I don't know anyone with one on a houseboat. But if you have a composting toilet on a houseboat, leave the comment below. We'd like to hear more about that. This is a great forum for you to connect with other boat owners, and it might be a cool topic we could do some research on. And there's even toilets that have a mechanism that they can treat or clean up the waste to a point where it can be pumped overboard. I don't know of any of those on this lake, but I'm sure that they're out there. And heck, if you have one of those, leave that in the comment section below as well. So we've talked about how the waste gets from the bowl to the holding tank, but there's some other things that we need to think about as well. Marine toilets are incredibly sensitive, and a lot of us boaters, we joke around to say, don't put anything in the toilet unless you've eaten it first. There's even a special marine toilet paper that we need to use so that the macerator pump won't clog and break down. That can be pretty messy and expensive to fix. And I've mentioned making sure that your boat doesn't smell like a sewer or a treatment plant. What we use in order to help the holding tanks digest the waste and not smell really bad is AquaChem. About 8 ounces of this treats 40 gallons of waste. We have 2 80-gallon waste tanks. We have one for the master head and one for the guest head. Both of those are 80 gallons. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate y'all sticking around. We're gonna be wrapping up here real soon. But so far, if you're getting value out of today's video, if you're enjoying this content, down below, you'll see a subscribe button and a like button. Give those a tap. It lets us know that you enjoy this content, and Jesse and I can keep creating it for you. So the final thing, what happens when your waste tank gets full? Well, as I've mentioned before, it's illegal to pump that overboard. What we do is we could either take our boat to the same place where we get gas at the marina, here at our marina or any marina on this lake, and they could pump out the boat for us. Also, our marina has the option where they bring a small pump out boat around to the houseboats and they pump it out inside of our slip. This costs a little bit more, about $40 every time we do this, but it's a great help in case we know that we have a lot of guests coming up for a long weekend, or it's very windy and the weather would make it very tough for us to get out. We can schedule the pump out boat to come a few days ahead of time, and usually Wednesdays are when they show up. We appreciate everyone sticking around this far. We know it can be kind of a smelly subject to talk about, but we've had a few comments about it and we thought it'd be very important to share. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, and we definitely look forward to catching up with you next week on something a little bit more fun to talk about.